Hi, I'm John from the Wild Bloom Academy, and we're specialists in environmental and biodiversity courses. Although I'm here to do a bee rescue, take this colony that it might not survive into the spring from this building, and it needs structural work on the building. Before I talk about that, I should talk about safety, because you probably can't tell from the video, but I'm quite a long way up on scaffolding. And to be up here, I am working at height trained, everything's been checked over. I'm very comfortable being up here, although the movement in some of it does, I do feel it in my stomach, so I will be quick. And all the written safety stuff has all been done, and the scaffolding has been properly checked over by qualified people who are down there at the moment, because they didn't want to be around the bees. So with safety sorted, the welfare thing is that the structural work is needed to the building, so they need to move. It's very unusual that honeybees will nest outside in the wild, and more unusual that they'll survive the winter. And you might be able to see them moving between the cones here. So the plan is I'm going to cut the cones to fit into British National frames. I'm going to secure them in the frames with elastic bands, these ones, and because the frames normally give the bee space by spacing off each other like that, you normally don't have to worry about the spacing, but because the widths of these cones are going to vary, I've drilled holes in these and I'm going to put them in this Payne's nuke box which is behind me, and then I'm going to secure them with nails. At the bottoms of the frames I will use foam so the bottoms of the frames don't move, and then the actual spacing I'll get by using this piece of 9mm board, because bee space is between 7 and 9mm, to make sure that they've got the right space. And the idea of doing it like that is so that it feels as much like home as it possibly can once they get into the box. So I'll pause the video now and then I will start it again once I've got them pretty much into the box. I probably won't film in the middle of it because it is very cold here, and I'm going to work as quickly as I can. About halfway in now, and you can see that there's breeding there, and also the bees are using their Nasanov glands to signal to the others where to go back to. And there we go, it's all finished. They all got in there really well, and you can see I've taped the box up and strapped it ready for lifting down. I've left the veil on because the odd one's still flying around, and I definitely don't want to get stung on the face at this time of year. So also I taped a piece of plastic to the window so that as they fell off as I was brushing the last bits off, they all just got down safely and then walked straight into the nuke box. These Payne's nuke box are ideal for this kind of thing, as well as loads of other things, and they're now available from Simon the Beekeeper, which is great for me because when I order stuff from them I find it good value, and also that it comes the next day. I'm not sponsored by them, but I might be next week, who knows. So on the next video you'll see how I care for them ongoingly, and also I don't think they would have lasted much more than a week. There was hardly any food in that nest up there, and they were raising young bees as well, and the queens with them, so it's all good and they're all safe and ready to move. So it's a couple of weeks now since I was up on the scaffolding, because I wasn't falling all over the scaffold. A couple of weeks since I've been up there, and I thought I would move them over into the beehive straight away. You can see the hive behind me, but I've put them on the floor so they could orientate themselves. The reason I didn't move them straight away is because they were really short on food, and I wanted to feed them, obviously to stop them dying, but then also I wanted them to pick up and start feeding themselves from the natural environment. And particularly this garden here, this private garden, is full of a massive range of different things for them to forage on, and you can see that they've really bounced back and they're really happy. So the next job now is to transfer the frames from this box, after I'd banded them in there, and get them into the hive. I've deliberately left them on the hive base so that they get used to coming in and out there, and I've put the rest of the beehive up behind them temporarily on some bricks for a couple of weeks, so they're used to what it looks like, and very quickly they'll settle down and start to get back together again. that's the first part done. So I've moved the box down off the stand and put the entrance lift off the traditional WBC hive in place with the brood box, and now I'm going to start moving the frames across. As the frames are moving over, it's really good to see all this fresh comb they've built in the gaps and that the elastic bands are still holding. This one is the third frame that I've moved across that's entirely full of young bees. You can see them all in there waiting to be born under those biscuit coloured cappings. I don't know how easy it will be to spot on the video, but I can see the queen walking around on that frame. And it's great to see her as well. On this part you can see that they're actually settling back in already really well, and that there's bees landing and going in with pollen on their legs to feed the young bees. Also, I've left it open so that you can see there's 2 brood boxes there, and throughout the season what I'll do is I'll change out the old frames that came off the building and then move them onto new ones so that they're in really good shape ahead of winter. But they're settling in and they're looking really good so far. And this is the end of the video with the hive fully assembled, and I've just loved seeing how happy they are, how well settled in they are. They're going to be really safe here, and they're just going to really love living here.